We're live now. Okay.
We are live.
Okay. Welcome back to Film Bros University.
Those are our leftover cans from the Super Bowl.
Let me not burp on the mic.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that,
Let me not
please.
burp on the
Please.
mic. Hold on. Let me balance the tape out real quick because this shit is missing. And I just broke my boombox.
Oh, no.
And I just broke my boombox. Nice.
Oh,
God,
We
the
need
whole
that.
time the table's just wobbling. It was doing the same thing last week, and now I put the boombox on. It's all good now.
no. All right, perfect.
Because it worked. It worked last week like a miracle. Okay, so things we want to talk about today. There were Super Bowl trailers that dropped yesterday. Some of them were good. Some of them were like not really memorable. Some of them just look like shit. But I think the big event here is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, absolutely. No, like that was the trailer that I think it's going to be like the summer movie of the year potentially. Like it feels like that type of movie where it was like sort of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 where everyone's like, "Oh, is this Marvel's comeback movie?" Where it's like, "Oh, we're finally all going to
Bro,
be
the energy, like I feel so much energy from the trailer, like the editing, that whole like 5-second sequence where he's just reloading the guns and he just hits that double reload, bro. It's so
the
hard.
double reload,
hard
and
as
also
fuck.
like when he like starts setting up, bro, and then there's like some quick cuts, and it, like while he's like getting everything
He's, like,
ready,
smacking his ass and
yeah.
Nah, when the elevator doors open up,
He's
and
doing that
in the
reverse split, like
yeah,
he goes
and he's
up.
like, oh, like it's perfect. It's a return to form, with Deadpool, because I was afraid for a little bit that they were gonna go like the Christmas movie Deadpool route.
Yeah.
When they made it for like, oh, it's like kids
They
could watch it too.
They tested it out just to see like how they could work with that format, and people were just
the
like,
fact that they did that is horrifying. That like these people have no idea what they're doing.
right.
But I'm happy to see that R rating. We knew we were gonna get it, but like to kind of see it is a different feeling.
Oh,
I think it's a completely different feeling.
That's like that's one of Disney's like rated R first rated R superhero movies, right?
Yeah.
Like it's historic in a way, and it's also like it just feels good to just see him able to be himself instead of that Christmas version. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like he introduces himself talking about pegging. I mean, like what?
Yeah,
he
he says like pegging is not new for me, but it is for Disney, and then he looks at the camera.
Yeah.
Like that was perfect. That's the perfect line to like kind of introduce those fans into it. And like a lot of the people that grew up with the MCU are now also old enough to watch Deadpool. Like I remember when the first Deadpool came out, I was like 13. I know you saw it in theaters, but like I wasn't allowed to. I had to watch it on a plane. Like I wasn't allowed to go to the theaters and watch these movies. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm interested in seeing like how it does box office wise, because to be honest, like it's a weird combination of things where the Batman kind of experienced this, where like there was a lot of things going for it, but there was a lot of things that could have held it down. But that was obviously a huge box office hit.
Oh yeah,
it had like
made
700
so
million
money.
plus. Yeah, so it was reaching like Christopher Nolan numbers. You know what I mean? But with this one, we have a lot of things going for it. Deadpool is a loved character. We have Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine.
I mean,
in the classic suit, which I have my take on it.
I mean,
not the suit, but like the overall, like him being revealed and stuff like that.
It's one of those things where I'm like, they ended his story so perfectly with Logan, which I don't think you haven't seen Logan yet, right?
Yeah. No, I have not seen Logan.
Not-
which
yeah,
is the reason I'm holding off is because I genuinely want to do an X-Men binge where like the only movies that I've only seen First Class. Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Those are great. I
fantastic.
saw Apocalypse, which at the time I think I was like also like 13. So to me at that time that seemed okay. I have to rewatch it because a lot of people hate Apocalypse. Dark Phoenix is just a fucking like that's the perfect movie.
Hans Zimmer's score went hard though.
No, yeah. No, there's that movie. There's stuff that like is. I can't speak, bro. There's a lot of good stuff in the movie that you could pick out, like the scene in the like Central Park West, I think, when like they were fighting next to this building or whatever. Like I thought that was really well shot, but like that's the perfect movie to get fucked up with, like with your friends and watch it, because there's so much stupid shit. Like as someone who's not like the biggest,
get to the chopper while like Magneto's like trying to like save
that
everybody.
was perfect. That's cinema. That's why we go to the movies. That's why Nicole Kidman
has to
because
add
of
it.
scenes like that.
Yeah, no, they gotta play that in like that movie montage that they have in the Nicole Kidman ad, you know. And then
you gotta be lying to yourself.
What happened, bro?
Oh, I just like shook water all over my fucking. Okay,
that's not good. You got a towel or something? It's not.
It's about to be the shortest episode.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh yeah. Actually, no. I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna save that. Don't talk about it.
Yeah, I won't.
I was about to fuck up. We're gonna save that for another episode.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? Yeah. So the X-Men franchise, like I've just seen those movies. I know Logan's really good, but I'm literally holding out. I just want to have all the context of that character because I feel like it'll pay off more once I see Logan instead of just watching it as a standalone movie.
Well, the great thing is that it does very well as a standalone movie. Like you could in theory just watch
like reading a graphic novel,
right?
Almost, like similar ideas. Where like if you read a lot of the other stuff, the older stuff, yeah, it's gonna hit different, but it works on its own. So like that's always that makes it an even better movie.
No, it's like for example, my dad like didn't watch a lot of like the X-Men movies, but I just brought him to Logan. So when we went when it first came out in theaters, we just went to Logan. So that was like his standalone experience. And he was like, yeah, that was like a movie like that, beginning, middle, end. I got the whole story. I understood everything. And you know, like Logan specifically was such a great send off that a part of me was like nervous when they first announced that they were gonna be like bringing him back for this. But it's one of those things where it's like, hey. You get Deadpool, you get Wolverine. This is like the crossover that they should have had that would have been done properly in X-Men or X-Men Wolverine Origins, where like they had
shit was garbage.
where they had Deadpool's mouth shown sewed shut, you know, and he couldn't talk, which is like the best part of it.
I've only seen clips, but that looked it's terrible.
Yeah,
like,
no.
The fact that Deadpool has his mouth shut, I don't even want to bother.
Yeah, you can't just do that to that character. But you know, now I'm sure they will make jokes about it. Like they already made jokes about it in X-Men 2 when Deadpool came and shot himself. Like when he went back in time and shot himself, and he just did like a few extra bullets for good measure because he was like, no.
Yeah. I just feel like because here's the thing: Hugh Jackman wanted to leave the character. You know, he played it for 17 years, and then now I feel like he felt like he had a duty to come back for this movie because Deadpool and Wolverine, that chemistry is unmatched in the comics. You know what I mean? They're such iconic characters, and as a duo, he probably felt like, nah, like I have to come back for this. The fact that they're giving him the opportunity, he probably thought like, yeah, this is mandatory. You know, like I have to do something. He probably went into that like it's more of a better thing than like bringing back like Zod. Like he's probably good. He went into that with like, I'm not regretting this. Like there's no way I'm regretting this.
It's also good because like they put like Deadpool and Wolverine. They didn't just call it like Deadpool 3. They're like, oh yeah, Wolverine's gonna have a major part.
Well, he better.
Yeah, because it's not just like a cameo where we're just gonna have him in for like 3 scenes and then move on. You know, because it's a multiverse movie. You know, but instead it's like Deadpool and Wolverine. They had him in yellow.
Like, I think there's a comic that's called goes by the same title.
But it's weird because like they're doing that classic thing where you pull from a lot of comics. Like it seemed like at first that the storyline they were going for is like this like classic storyline that they have in a bunch of Marvel comics where it's like Deadpool kills the Marvel universe, where he just like they just put it like a what if scenario where Deadpool just like tried to kill every character, and they did that with like Hulk and a couple of other people. Where like, oh yeah, they killed everyone in the Marvel universe. And that's a good way of like doing like a reset if they had to like get rid of the Fox stuff and just move
they're
on.
Doing something interesting because one thing I noticed. Well, first of all, the trailer doesn't show much. It's like it looks like from just what we saw alone, it's just one location that they showed, one action sequence, and if you see in the shot where he's like reloading his gun, there's a 20th Century Fox logo like sticking out of the sand, like the giant structure behind it.
Oh, so that's the intro then.
It's probably like literally him going into like the multiverse and like you get what I'm saying?
I see.
I think the plot is I'm gonna fix the MCU. You know what I mean? Like it might be that.
Well,
I think
Marvel Jesus, man. If there's any candidate, bro, he's already been brought back from the dead. You know, like
I'm excited. I mean, it has the energy that the other 2 movies had. Ryan Reynolds is back, obviously. You know,
so
I would lose it if they recasted him.
I get you.
They just can't do that.
I mean, like it'd be like an interesting experiment to see someone else try to play it, but like the charisma that he brought to the role, he made it his own after like fucking up with like the first movie where it was like, oh yeah, we're just gonna completely like you have some scenes where you're able to talk and then we just sew your mouth shut. And you know that's your portrayal. Yeah, and he's been able to make it his own since then. Where it's like it's perfect. You know, 2016 Deadpool is great.
I can't imagine anyone else playing him. It's the same thing with you. I think it's a funny thing because these are 2 people who were born to play these roles. You know, like you can't imagine really anyone else playing them. Like there could be other actors. Like Tom Hardy could probably pull off a Wolverine.
He could. They were talking about Daniel Radcliffe.
It's like his face and his charisma and his like stature to the character. Like adds so much.
His voice, his energy. You know.
Like it's the same thing like Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man. Like it's a match made in heaven. Like it's the same idea. Like these three characters that we just mentioned are people that were born to play the role. You know, I can't imagine like other people doing it.
Well, they were talking about like potentially in like a multiverse thing having Tom Cruise play Iron Man, which would be like interesting to see, but that'd be so weird. It would feel wrong, you know what I mean? And also they were talking about potentially having Daniel Radcliffe, the Harry Potter dude, just play Wolverine because he's like short. He'd be more comic accurate if he gets buff and everything.
No.
But it's like it'd feel weird, you know what I mean?
No.
No.
I don't want to even talk about that. That's terrible. Harry Potter as
Harry
Wolverine,
Potter, bro.
Yo, no offense, Daniel, but like, nah, bro.
No.
You're good. You're good off that.
Well, that's the thing about actors, man. Like sometimes, like they can surprise you. They can surprise. Remember, everyone was talking shit about Heath Ledger.
He's gonna be surprisingly bad. He's gonna be surprisingly bad.
No, I understand that instinct, but it's still like sometimes even when you give people a chance, they do amazing things. No. Heath Ledger, man, like that's a classic example where they're like, oh, no, but
that was
this rom-com fucking dude, he can't play Joker, and
it's not the
look
same
at what
thing.
He did, man.
No, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. They're gonna give him glasses, bro.
Oh no, they can't do that. They can't do that. They can't do that to him.
I mean, okay, with the Wolverine stuff, I think the reveal was handled really well in the trailer, but I genuinely think if they went a route, they could have I don't think it would have been too hurtful to the film to just call it Deadpool 3 and then just have it be a Deadpool and Wolverine movie, but save it for the movie. Like it's the same thing they did with No Way Home where like they're showing us Doc Ock, Green Goblin coming back. I'm like, dude, do you know like the amount of nuts that would be busted in the theater
if nobody knew?
If nobody knew.
Thing is that like it's hard.
Like literally, imagine watching that shit and like Doc Ock just appears on screen. You just didn't know what was in the movie.
It would have been crazy. Well, that's like the big difference where it's like sometimes they are able to contain those type of leaks, and then other times it goes out instantly. You know, like as soon as like they started even like talking about like even writing No Way Home, like there was already like conversations of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are gonna be in it. You know, like immediately that
fucking
it leaked.
John Campea, bro.
Yeah,
leaking.
No, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. But yeah, man, like leaks are hard. Like that's why I was so impressed when like Mandalorian, for example, hid Baby Yoda when they had that but it was like enough of like a small project at that time that they could pull it off.
You know, John Campea got kicked off the Incredible Hulk set. Like I think he was a PA.
Yeah.
And he took pictures of the set and posted it. And then he was like, he got confused why he got fired.
Yeah, I see.
He's an interesting character. Yeah, that was a crazy time, but it's also like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it did take away a little bit from the experience because we all kind of knew. Like,
we all knew what happened.
They're gonna be in the movie.
And so, like, at a certain point, it's sort of like you're watching and like waiting, where you're like, okay, is this when he comes in? Is this when they come in?
But the fans are also terrible. Like, they're stupid as fuck. Like, why would you want to know that? Like, people wanted to see, like, just announce it already. Just relax. Like, just enjoy the experience. They're ruining it for themselves. Imagine if people like when Endgame was coming out, they had like pictures of Captain America with Thor's hammer leaking and like fucking. Like,
it's dangerous.
And Tony with the Infinity Gauntlet and shit like that. Like,
well, that's why, like, when you read about how they were making Endgame, like, the way that they would go about it is that they would, like, film, like, fake scenes and stuff, like, just in case to even have the actors a little confused about how the ending and how everything would wrap up. Because, like, they were like, okay, we know that sometimes our actors accidentally spoil things. We know that sometimes, like, things can leak because, you know, we have a bunch of people on crew, a bunch of people, like, throughout the whole set. And so they wrote like fake stuff in order to get away with that. But like that, you got to put a lot of resources into it to pull something like that off. It's hard to prevent leaks. But regardless, it's one of those things also that we got to factor in that a lot of it is marketing. Why they're like showing these characters early on. It's marketing.
But it's poor. It's bad. It's bad marketing in my opinion.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, would more people watch the movie if they knew about it in advance, or if they would find out that, oh, this happened in the movie afterward when you didn't watch it? You know what I mean? So it's like a bit of a balance.
I feel like word of mouth works.
Word of mouth. That's what happened with Mandalorian. When Baby Yoda. Avatar,
it happened with The Greatest Showman. It happens with a lot of stuff,
right?
Especially TV shows, like especially if you mentioned The Mandalorian, like when TV shows come out and they start finding out stuff about it, like more people come to. I guess movies are a little bit different, but for sure, like it's always possible for a movie to make like 70 million opening weekend and then the next weekend like 100 million.
Yeah.
You know, because people heard what's in it or like heard that it's really good and they choose to go see it. You know,
which is like that's the best form of getting people into the
and
theaters.
It doesn't make
word
sense
of mouth is the most like natural way.
And it doesn't make sense because it's been proved over and over again post COVID. People still want to go to the movies. You know, so none of this shit makes sense at all. But yeah, that's always a conversation we're gonna have. I feel like, especially with the current state of like the film industry. You know,
and I mean it's at least specifically with Deadpool and Wolverine. Like I feel like they sort of knew with the marketing that they wanted to have this as the big selling point. To like why the movie is being made. Like
yeah, but it's a weird thing. Like I said, because the selling point should be like it's Deadpool. There's already a huge like fan base of Deadpool. Because I guarantee you take out Wolverine out of the equation, people are gonna still watch that movie.
Right.
Deadpool was the highest grossing R-rated movie of the time. You know, like had the biggest box office opening for an R-rated movie. I think until it came out.
Yeah,
like it was a couple million behind it or something like that. So like people want to go see it. Like Joker is a big example of people who want to see like R-rated comic book movies. You know,
you can do more with the stories. You know,
it's
that's
one
the
of poor choice, but you know, we don't have to get into Joker right now. But yeah, I just think people are gonna
he'll be in Deadpool 4.
Okay, fuck you. People are gonna see Deadpool regardless if Wolverine is in it or not. It's just like I feel like it's pointless. It's pointless. You added a couple, like maybe like an extra 100 million. You know, like it doesn't make sense. If you were able to watch Logan, you're gonna watch Deadpool. They coincide with each other. They're both in the X-Men universe. So I just think it's poor marketing overall. But I do like that they still haven't showed him in the trailer. But simultaneously, it doesn't make any fucking sense because
we've seen pictures.
The set pictures were released.
Yeah. I get
like
you.
Okay, bro, just don't show him.
But it was a cool tease though at the end of the trailer when he comes up and Deadpool's like, "Give me a hand up, you ape," and he's like, "No." Like when he's coming in with the claws, that's a good scene.
Of course, it's good. All of it looks good, but like at the end of the day, the marketing could have been handled better.
I get you.
But also, we still have to simultaneously also hold our expectations back because I got fucked with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 where like I got super hyped for that movie and I was like, this movie is gonna be like the one MCU movie in a minute that I'm actually gonna think is like great because I think the first two are like damn near perfect and I just didn't like it.
Yeah, when you were holding it up to like those first two, it definitely affected the way that you
who's not going to?
Right.
You know, I feel like every movie has to, like every sequel has to build on the predecessor and be better. You know, it's always hard, but at least be as good or even better. You know,
right? If
not decent.
And like especially, I mean, the reason why Volume 3 like definitely like worked in the circumstances of when it came out was because in contrast, especially with the other Marvel movies and the DC movies and the superhero movies, like it was definitely like one of the better ones. I mean, of course we're not counting like Across the Spider-Verse, which is like way better. You know what I mean? But like
perfect.
But like, you know, in terms of live action, like that was probably like the better superhero movie of that year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just think like it's the same thing when people say like, "Oh, Echo is pretty good," like in comparison to She-Hulk.
Because everyone's doing their rankings, right? Their lists and stuff like that.
Like, yo, dog shit is pretty good compared to horse shit. Like, what the fuck are we doing? It's like stupid ass comparisons, and like, yeah, I get that, but like, we have to. I don't know. We
gotta look for good content. We wanna be able to push our creators, our artists, to be the best versions of themselves.
2023 has tainted me.
Oh no! Yeah, don't put it like that. That sounds wrong. It's tainted me.
Yeah, it's bad, bro. That shit was bad, bro. Anyways, so yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm excited for it. Looking forward to it. I think the trailer was good, perfectly edited. It's a perfect trailer.
It's gonna be one of the summer movies of the year for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna make a shit ton of money.
Yeah,
guaranteed. So we can. It's looking more positive than negative. Obviously, I feel like the last like 5 minutes of the conversation have been relatively negative. But yeah, it's gonna be good. Next up, I wanted to talk about the Quiet Place Day 1 teaser.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's also, I think that was one of the better trailers that released. But I'm also still like, I don't know,
You're like hesitant about it
because it's not written by John Krasinski.
That's the thing that's like holding me back. Where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna manage my. But I mean, it's good to let like franchises like try out new voices and stuff like that. But we'll see how they do. We'll go in with fresh eyes. You know, as much as we want John Krasinski to be able to do everything, he himself has said like, I want to be able to like branch out. I don't want to be doing the same thing forever. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, but it's also weird. Like the shots in the trailer is like Joseph Quinn like screaming like twice, like these random awkward shots of him like overacting his ass off. It's out of context, so you don't know what's going on. But I just thought it's like,
it's to make the more intense, like it's intense. You know what I mean? Like that's what they always try to do with that.
If they just put it like maybe one shot, but they kept just adding shots of him screaming, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? If I got on my carpet,
no, it didn't.
I swear to God, Benzion.
There we go. It's safe.
Is it on the carpet?
No. Your carpet is all the way over there, my guy. Are you bugging? Look at that. Your carpet's all... Yeah.
I'm dumb. Like, I'm dead ass, like, cooked. I'm cooked.
Not as dumb as that, but you know what I mean. We're like...
So it got on the floor?
Yeah, on the floor.
So if my carpet was there, you would have got it on the carpet?
Yeah.
So I have a reason
if it was here. But,
so
bro,
I have a reason
you
to
know
mad.
It's back there, though. You live here. You know, so it's...
Okay, bro.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, Quiet Place Day One. Not too many thoughts on it. It looks okay. The idea is good. You know, especially taking place in New York, like one of the loudest cities in the world, if not the loudest.
No, that was one of the things that I really like when I first watched, like I think the trailer for Quiet Place Part 2, when they just opened with, oh, this is clearly day one because there's noises all around us, and like that is an exciting premise because like we already spent a whole movie where everything's quiet, where everything's already post-apocalypse, right? But like seeing like how it all gets there, it's always like people are always interested in like lores and stuff for like how the world goes to shit and like interesting apocalypse scenarios like that. And so seeing a whole movie devoted to day one is cool.
It's simple.
Yeah.
It's very simple, just like the other movies have been relatively simple. I feel like definitely the second one expanded, like part 2, expanded on a lot of the world building that the first one did, but it's generally like such a simple concept. You know, it's like be quiet or die.
Yeah.
Like that's what the plot of the movie essentially. But what it does so well is incorporate like these ideas of family and parenthood and all that stuff, which works like phenomenally in the first one.
Right, and so that's gonna make this movie a little different since it's not overtly about that. So like this is already gonna have like different themes and different like than the first two. You know what I mean?
I wonder how they're gonna pull that off. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'm decently excited for it. I just doesn't. It's not giving me the same vibe like the first two, because the first two I feel like are genuinely like really good horror movies. I feel like the first one you could even call it a classic. You know.
Well, this one is looking like it's looking more like, instead of like specifically going like down the route like the first two, where it's like it's gonna be everything is bigger, you know, especially location wise. It's New York, one of the big cities, you know, and there's gonna be constant like action scenes with like things are falling out of the sky, way more CGI for the creatures, you know, like the creatures are like good and like. I feel like especially in the first two, like in like small doses, where it's intense, you know.
It's Twisters, but with monsters.
Pretty much.
No, like, now there's just more of them.
There's
like
just more
of
them. No, the classic example is like comparing like Alien and then Aliens, you know, where it's like, oh, first we're dealing with like one that's like coming for all of us on the ship, and then now it's like, oh, they're everywhere. Like what are we gonna do? You know what I mean? It's like a classic way of upping the ante where we just have way more.
Bro. Yeah, that's always funny to me when they just add a fucking S and it's like, yo, here's your sequel.
There you go.
It's so genius. Oh, we're so original.
Hollywood, man.
Yeah. Hollywood. Exactly, yeah. Speaking of Hollywood, that's a terrible bridge. Okay. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes trailer. The CGI looks like shit. Compared to the other ones where like Caesar looks like a real ass monkey.
Amazing.
Like it's a real monkey. Like you could believe that that's like a like.
Well,
you know
here's a big
it's
thing.
Believable. It's way more believable when you watch it.
Here's a big thing with that. They probably don't have Andy Serkis working on this new one, right?
It doesn't mean shit. They still have the technology.
Well, no.
We had Avatar 1. Avatar 2 is out, bro.
I get you.
We have Avatar 2. There's no, like...
I mean, what I'm proposing here is that there is a level of innovation and talent that goes with, like, some of these people that push the boundaries of VFX. And Andy Serkis, throughout his whole career, he's, like, the
Lord
biggest...
of the Rings, etc.
Dude, like, Gollum, like, he's everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, there's way more examples of what he's been doing.
Andy Serkis's.
Yeah, all of them, bro. I'm sure there's, like, a multiverse of Andy Serkis characters, bro, out there in the world. And so he, like, without having him, like, you immediately see...
You mean, like, a multiverse of, like, there's this mad Andy Serkis, like, motion captures? Or, like,
yes.
there's this mad Andy Serkis in the world?
No, there's
like, there's different, like, forms of Andy Serkis.
Every character, man. Like, every single... He even has, like, live-action versions of him, which I think is funny. Especially where it's like, oh, yeah, he's that
in Black
actor.
Panther,
yeah, he's in Black Panther, where he's just such a great actor that he's able to
actually
just go from place to place. No,
he's such a great actor. He can actually act
and
without,
he can
like,
do everything.
caking him
without
up with a bunch
without
of CGI.
having all these suits,
without making him a monkey. He's a pretty good actor.
Without making him into, like, a freaking crawling, like
yeah,
thing.
bro is always crawling. He's always on his hands and knees, bro.
Dude, if you see the videos of him, like, doing the motion capture in Lord of the Rings, it's like, dude, this guy is, like, talented. Like, in the way that he does the voice, like, that all comes from him. He's like, the positioning of his body, it's so good. And so that's what happens when you don't have, like, that type of, like, auteur, that type of dude that's at the top of his game working in your movie. You know, I don't know for sure. He's definitely not in King.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, there's not much information. They don't even have, like, the budget's not even out yet.
I see.
But I can definitely tell you they probably spent, like, $200 million on this movie.
Right.
Like,
they're also overworking the VFX artists as usual, doing all this stuff.
Yeah, probably, but most of that has been coming from the MCU, so I can't possibly say, like, hey, they are also going through that, because Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is not under as much pressure as, like, the MCU artists are, where, like, something has to fucking drop every 4 months, right. You know? So.
Well, it's still one of those things where it's like, in general in the industry, like, the whole, like, they're really trying to get this VFX union off the ground for all these big budget movies, and it's still, like, attempts are being squashed, but they're, like, going for it because they need some sort of support, you know, because the way that things are going right now, they're getting like destroyed, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just such an interesting thing. Like we're spending so much money, like $200 million plus on these movies, and they're not even looking good. They're not looking good. We've said this numerous times, but it's like, genuinely, like, what are we doing? There's so many movies that spend way less money. Like, we just mentioned that on our last podcast. Like, Dune Part 2 is a $120 million budget, and it looks better than this shit, and it looks better than most of the MCU projects that have come out in the past few years. Dog, like, no. Like, at least Deadpool and Wolverine, like, everything looks decent. You know, everything looks good so far. I mean, they haven't showed us much, but
it's a fundamental thing also, where it's like, the problem with a lot of the visual graphics, the computer generated images, all the stuff, is that it eventually ages. Like, there's a certain point where we just get to, like, just better quality, that it starts looking worse as time passes on. You know, it's like, for example, when you look at, like, the OG Star Wars movies, without all the special effects, without all the stuff, if you look at the prequels now, prequels...
but that's a different thing.
No. But hear me out. Like, when you're just working with a lot of practicals, when you're just working with, like, the actual location, when you have the actual world around you that you're building, a lot of it can end up aging much better than
I don't think the technology is aging.
I think
at all.
I think like, I think as tech gets even more advanced, as we get into, like, the crazier parts of, like, the future, where it's like we're finding out new ways of developing, like, the pixels, everything that's just looking better and better and better as it goes on. A lot of these things are not going to look as great as they did when they first came out. You know, I'm sure that
what does this have to do with?
Well, here's what
I'm saying. The older stuff is looking better than this.
No, yeah, I get you, and that's a whole different like,
so
ballpark.
What are you talking about?
But what I'm talking about in general is just like with a premise like Planet of the Apes. Eventually, like, the graphics are not going to look as great as they did before. You know, it's just the way that things age, the way that things go on. Especially like Star Wars prequels, people loved how it looks back then.
I'm confused. Where, like, you're saying that what's not looking as good as before?
Well, like, for example, like the specific example that I was pulling up was like the Star Wars prequels. People loved how that looked at the time.
But you're talking about the plan. My point is literally saying that the older Planet of the Apes movies look better than this.
Yeah. But like what I'm trying to say there specifically is that like with VFX, with the way that the whole thing moves in general, especially now that they're being overworked, especially now that they're rushing, they can't put in like the innovation into the new tech that they did before.
That's different than saying that, because what you said was that these movies aren't aging well.
Right.
What is that? What are you talking about?
Well, that's like a thing with like CG in general, where I feel like eventually like it starts looking not as great. But I get you. Thank you for clarifying. But I get what you were confused about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, but like, wait, I'm confused. So what are you trying to say about this current film? Like, are you
this current film, it definitely does not look as great as.
So you were just stating that.
I was just stating, that's what I was saying overall. You know.
Okay. I was like confused. I was like, "Are you saying?" I was like, the War of the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Apes. I was like, that's fucking looks amazing.
I know, but like even then, like I'm worried like in the way in the future, like say like 70 years from now, with all the tech that's gonna be there, like all this Apple Vision stuff. You know what I mean?
I think we might notice small differences, but I think we've gotten to the point. Don't do that.
Oh.
Don't turn off on me. Thank you. I think we've gotten to the point with tech where like it's already looking so realistic. Like I don't see how it's gonna age that bad. Like there's so like Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, I mean right
how
now,
is
yeah.
that like? Look at Tron Legacy.
Well, they use a lot of practicals also with Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We're like also like look at Tron Legacy. Like a lot of that movie deals with CGI, and 14 years later, it still holds up.
Except for the one guy that like was what was his face?
Well, yeah,
Clue,
that
right?
that works in a really ironic way with like actually how the story plays.
But that wasn't what they were going for at the time.
To be honest, I'm not sure. I do think that they were trying to make him look younger, like actually, but I think it's funny because it really works out for the character, and like creating this ideal like perfect person where he doesn't look really human. So. Yeah, I think now it works, but yeah, definitely back then that was like the one real flaw with that movie.
Well, it's that CGI thing where with VFX with CGI eventually it's gonna age. That's my point overall.
Well, that always looked like shit. I mean, that's not.
Well, no. When people watch Tron Legacy, when they first watched, they're like, "Yo, this is."
It's still but what are you trying to? So it still looks perfect.
Right. Yeah. But
you're saying it's aged. It hasn't.
No,
aged.
I'm saying. I mean specifically Clue. Clue looks not that great.
Okay, but that hasn't aged. It's always been like shit.
Right. Well, at the time when people first watched it, did they say that it was
still
shit?
looked like
when
shit.
People went to
yes.
Got you.
We had Avatar.
Well, then that's
we had Avatar.
It
looked like shit.
That's a fair point. But you know, like that's sort of like the position where we're in now, but it's on a worse scale, obviously, where it's like we see things that are not as great.
Avatar aged.
The first Avatar.
That aged.
I mean, when you see it in theaters, it's a lot of it still looks like gorgeous. It still looks great, but some things obviously, you know, that's just the way it is.
When you get more into the like when you stop having the human actors standing next to like the Na'vi, it looks way better. Like when you're fully immersed in the world and it's all CG, I feel like it comes off way better than like when what's the actress's name from Alien?
Sigourney Weaver
is like standing next to him, or like the scientists are standing next to him. Like it still looks great. It's not bad, but you can definitely see like it looks a little.
Do you get that also with Way of the Water when you watched Way of the Water not too long ago?
No, that looks really.
That looks good.
I mean,
right
it's not. There's
like, some moments in there where I still feel like
James Cameron likes. You know.
I get you. He loves them. You know.
He likes sucking himself off a little bit. You know. But, I mean.
He deserves it.
Yeah,
he deserves it.
Made great moves, but like he needs to chill the fuck out. Like it wasn't that crazy. It was
pretty crazy.
Some of the shots, like when you look at their hand, like it looks like a real like hand.
Right.
You know where, like painting over someone's hand blue doesn't look like that on camera. So that was impressive. Like those, I forgot who was the people behind it. Like what was the company that was behind Avatar. Why does my audio look so low?
Oh no!
Wait, talking to you.
Hello.
My audio looks real. Now it's like loud. But
there
I guess I'll back up. Yeah, I think it's fine, but it just looked weird because usually when you talk, it like goes like this, So maybe you're ear raping everyone right now.
Oh no.
Yeah,
so back up a little bit.
Back to just Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Yeah, it just doesn't look good. Nothing. It's not really interesting me. I'm gonna watch it because I'm a huge fan of like the trilogy.
Yeah, no, I mean
Matt Reeves helmed like the last 2 movies, but even Rise of the Planet of the Apes was good. Like without Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Matt Reeves I don't think would have gotten to direct the other 2. Like if that movie had bombed and it was like just dog shit, nobody would have wanted to see it.
Absolutely.
So and that's also a weird franchise to bring back. Like I don't know how big it was back in like especially when the Mark Wahlberg one came out, which I heard is like bad, but I watched it when I was like a little kid, so I don't remember too much. But yeah, I think just off that one alone, that director had to have done really well, because without that, like we wouldn't have the success of the rest of the franchise, which are like amazing movies. Like I love Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I love War for the Planet of the Apes. It was one of the biggest movies of that year.
No, they were. Yeah. I remember they were huge. They made a lot of money. People were invested. Like there's still like Caesar is still like a big character in pop culture. Like it's just one of those.
The classic, like no, like that's a classic scene. So, and Draco Malfoy is in that movie too, and James Franco. But yeah,
Tom Felton.
The other trailer that was on the Super Bowl was Twisters, but there's not much to talk about. Like I'm gonna watch it. It has Daisy Edgar Jones in it. If you're a fan of normal people, you're gonna watch it.
It has Glenn
Powell.
Powell.
I'm convinced like fans of normal people just watch anything that Daisy Edgar Jones is in,
and Paul Mescal is
right. In. Paul Mescal's career is going fucking crazy.
Well, he's
for sure.
He launched, bro. Rocket ship. Bro.
Another thing I want to say, Glenn Powell. Also happy to see him in more movies. Like ever since
he
Top
deserves
Gun Maverick.
it.
Yeah,
he was so charismatic.
He's so great. He's perfectly cast in this movie. Perfectly cast in this movie. I'm very interested in seeing him in Hitman, Richard Linklater's new film. That's I don't know why the fuck it's coming out in June. I'm kicking myself for not going to the New York Film Festival.
Yeah, Leo got to see it, I believe.
Lucky bastard.
Lucky man.
And Ruben too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both said it was good. So yeah, I'm excited. Nothing too crazy. Also, like, bro, the CGI and Twisters look better than Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah, bro. Like that's kind of crazy.
Well, they don't have to use
Twisters,
the CG
bro.
for that much
Twisters,
there.
Bro.
Like in Kingdom, every character like needs to be CG'd almost. Like they're all apes, except for like the one human that they're chasing.
But also we also have to consider the fact that shit is getting more expensive probably. Like the creative, but then again, like Dune was 120 million, bro. Like what the fuck?
What's happening?
No, it's bullshit. They're fucking stupid. Studios are dumb. That's why we went on strike, pussy. Fuck you. Okay, yeah, we're done. Great trailers. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Bad CGI.
Yeah, we'll see how it looks when we watch it in the theater. Maybe they have some time to fix it, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, so we had some good stuff. Really waiting. What is a trailer that you're waiting for? Like that you would want to see?
A trailer that I want to
Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Beyond the Spider-Verse. Maybe Nosferatu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I want to see that.
That's one of my most anticipated films of the year.
I want to see that. I'm blanking right now, but I'm sure there's a couple more. Like it's one of those things where it's like
thinking, hard
Super Bowl. Like they mainly promote like the big like summer.
Well, the
like,
summer,
action.
I always remember the World War Z.
Oh really?
Yeah. When I think of Super Bowl trailers, that always comes to my mind.
For me, I do actually tend to think of like the Civil War TV spot that was a great one. It was like "United we stand, divided we fall," and they had like the hype. Yeah,
that was really good. So yeah, fuck the Chiefs. Fuck the Chiefs. 49ers.
It was a good game.
Back,
it was a good intense game.
They need to get their get back, bro. They should have got their get back last night. Anyways, I'm not gonna get into that because
now they have a chance to go for 3 in a row. That'd be the first time in NFL history.
The worst thing to watch after a game is to watch the opposite team get showered in the opposing team's confetti and just sitting there in depression, bro.
It's tough.
Yeah, bro. All right, so yeah, I don't know what else to say.
I think
that's it. I said we're done like 3 times, bro.
Dunzo.
Yeah, Dunzo. Benzo's Dunzo. You're fired.
Retired.